Dear friends, Pastor David, did Jesus visit India any time, particularly in his missing years 13 to 29? Why such question come and what is the answer? If we go with Jesus to Nazareth, we will be able to find out. Jesus was called as Jesus of Nazarene because he grew in Nazareth predominantly. He spent his lifetime there. But in the records of the Bible, the years between 13 and 29 of his lifetime is missing. That is the reason they say Jesus must have come to India. Why? Because India is a land of spirituality and Jesus gave lot of importance to spirituality. So they suspect that he must have come to India to visit the people, sages in Himalayan areas and all that. Another reason is Jesus was truly bothered about the last house of Israel. In Matthew chapter 10 and verse 6, he said to his disciples, "Go to the last sheep of the house of Israel." You know, India is full of Israelites. If you know the history before Christ, 700 years before the birth of Christ, the ancient Israel, the northern Israel, 10 tribes, they were completely chased out. And history also today say that they have come to settle in India through Khyber and Bolan passes in the north and as Dravidians in the south. If you study the Harappa, Mohenjo-daro and other excavations and the data, and also the stories of ancient Israelites and Indians, the culture, the lifestyle, the literature which gives a lot of details about the happenings between these two people, the archaeological evidences, very especially the common genes that is noted in Israelites and in Indians, all connect dots and people come to a conclusion that Israelites are living here, the last northern tribes are living here and Jesus must have come to India. But the point is, there is no direct evidence for such a thing available in Palestine, in Bible and also here in India. Whereas there are a lot of evidences and clues that we get from the Bible literature in the New Testament that Jesus did not come to India, but he stayed in Palestine, in Nazareth, and he grew there. How? In Luke chapter 2 verse 51, we read about Jesus that he was obedient to his parents. After his visit to Jerusalem for celebrating the Passover when he was 12 years old, when he was found missing in the crowd and the parents brought him back, then he was obedient to parents. What qualified him to be identified as an obedient son? Because he was obedient son and everybody saw. People around him, in his family, everybody saw. That is the reason it is mentioned like that. Not only that, the next verse, that is in Luke chapter 2 verse 52, we read that Jesus grew in wisdom, in stature and in the favor of God and man. People know that he grew in wisdom one step by step, and also he grew in stature. People saw him as a young boy and a school going boy, a teen and an adult and a youth, and he grew in the favor of God and man. That means people knew about him as an obedient boy. People saw him as a spiritually growing boy in the favor of God and man. And another important clue we get from Matthew chapter 13 is that when on a Sabbath day Jesus went to synagogue of Nazareth, when he started preaching from the book of Isaiah, he declared the Nazareth manifesto and said, "This is about me." People were very angry. "You claim yourself to be Messiah? Go out." They chased him out. And then they said, "This young boy who grew right in front of our eyes is now talking differently. He's claiming to be Messiah. Whereas we know his brothers, James, Joseph and Simon and Judah, all are there right in front of us. What happened to this man? Why he is claiming like that?" Which tells us that his entire life was visible. It was transparent and people knew him growing right in front of his eyes. Now, another important thing. What about the parables and the adages and the stories Jesus taught? It talks about a rich culture in which he grew in front of the people. You know, it is very interesting to know about the location of Nazareth. People in the south, where Jerusalem was the head, rich in religion and culture and literature, never respected, never considered anybody from north, particularly from Nazareth. They said, no good can come out of Nazareth, because Nazareth was located along the cliff of a hill, totally disconnected to the major highways and major lands, occupied by ordinary people, peasants and others. But Jesus, as he was growing, had a very interesting neighborhood. If he goes up the hill, he had a panoramic view of the entire Israel and its neighborhood. On the one side, he could see Mediterranean Sea. On the other side, he could see Galilean Sea. The other side, Mount Tabor, and this side, Mount Moriah. And Jesus learned so many things from the day-to-day life of the people. Can you understand when he was giving beautiful parables from whatever he learned from with his experience? The story of the last sheep, the crops, the birds that are flying in the air, the story of the rich and the poor, the judge. You know, in Nazareth, they were always afraid of invasion. So they had underground rooms, layer below layer. You know, Jesus told about the story of the last coin. The lady has to light a light and then search for the coin and find. It was a dark house. Even today, if you go to Nazareth, there is a church of Annunciation, and they also have found the original house of Jesus, which is a kind of a cave. So dear friends, the very place Nazareth suggests that Jesus grew here. So what is the understanding we get? Dear friends, Jesus was very much growing in Nazareth. What about the missing years? The clues we have is enormous that he grew in Nazareth. One thing we must understand, if you don't find a direct detail from the Bible, you don't give your own suggestions. Rather, you check the cross references and connect and try to find the truth. Not only for studying the life of Jesus, even for the spiritual learning. The scripture will support the scripture. Study the Bible, study the scripture in order, completely connect. The Lord will reveal many truths to you. Did Jesus come in search of the lost tribes, the lost house of Israel to India? No. But he sent his disciple, Thomas. Very interesting. Hope you have learnt a wonderful truth. I will meet you again with another truth very shortly. God bless you.